Nationals to their first World Series championship. My first guest joining me tonight on Kolko and Friends, the managing principal owner of the Washington Nationals, who has a very special announcement. Mark, it's great to see you, and I'll just get out of the way and tee it up for you. What do you have for all the Nats fans watching?
I'm thrilled to announce that this coming Sunday night, May 24th at 7 Eastern Time, we'll be hosting an historic event, Major League Baseball's first World Series championship virtual ring ceremony. We've been working since March to create a way for as many Nationals fans as possible to experience the unveiling of our spectacular World Series championship rings. We'll have several special guests participating, and it should be a fun moment to bring us all together, the 2019 world champions and baseball fans everywhere, all while we're still at home. It's a special day for this team because on May 24th last year, our fortunes started to turn after a terrible 1931 start to our season.
That's awesome news. I can't wait to see these rings on Sunday during this debut. And Mark, I know you would have ideally liked to be doing this in Nationals Park with 44,000 people there as originally scheduled. What was the process like over the last handful of weeks that led you to this decision to do this ring ceremony virtually?
We don't know when we'll all be together again at Nationals Park, and this virtual ring ceremony allows us to gather together remotely to share a moment of joy in these uncertain times. We'll be bringing fans up close and personal with the team in a way that wouldn't be possible in a typical ring ceremony. I'm really excited for our fans to see the rings and be part of this special moment.
And you have kept the design of these rings very close to you. Almost nobody knows what these things look like, even to this point. So everyone is super excited to finally see these rings. This virtual ring ceremony will be aired on MASN and MLB Network, as well as on the Nationals online channels. So you can catch it there Sunday, this upcoming Sunday at 7 p.m. But Mark, I know that's not the only special announcement that you have for us here tonight. You have another labor of love that you and your organization have been working on and put together. What else do you have to tell the fans about?
Yeah, that's right, Dan. Our Curly W Productions team has been working for months on our very own documentary titled Improbable. We thought it would be fun to get fans in the spirit before the virtual ring ceremony by airing the world premiere of part one of the documentary this Saturday, May 23rd on MASN and Nationals.com. And part two will air on MASN and Nationals.com on Sunday the 24th before the start of the virtual ring ceremony. I've had a sneak peek of the final cut, and I can tell you fans will not be disappointed. It is a phenomenal piece of work.
That's awesome. So that will be starting Saturday at 7 p.m. That'll be on MASN and Nationals.com. And then part two of the documentary on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. leading in to the virtual ring ceremony. Can't wait to see parts of that. I've seen a little sneak peek as well, and it looks fantastic. Mark, there's so much positive stuff right now that's coming out of such a tough situation that we're all in as a society and as a DC community. And I know that you guys as an organization have done a lot to help people in need here be able to get the meals that they need. Tell us a little bit about what Nationals Park is hosting, even during these times that it's not hosting actual baseball games.
We know many members of the DMV community are hurting right now. So along with offering a distraction from stay-at-home worries, we are continuing to offer support to those in need. An estimated 1 in 10 people in our region do not know where their next meal will come from. So fans are invited to donate to Nats for Good Community Response Fund to support hunger relief by texting RELIEF to 91347 or visiting nationals.com/relief. We should mention that we have already served over 250,000 meals out of Nationals Park to people in need with our dear friend Jose Andreas and his amazing World Central Kitchen. Every tax-deductible donation will be passed along in full to hunger relief partners of World Central Kitchen and the Capital Area Food Bank, who are both doing tremendous work in our community. With each donation, fans can share a message of support for the Nationals and our community. Fans who make a donation between now and this weekend will have the opportunity for their message to be featured during the virtual ring ceremony this weekend.
That's fantastic. So they can see their message pop up on the screen as they're watching. their Nationals get their World Championship rings, or at least the designs of them, for the first time. Mark, thank you so much. So many cool things that we have going on during such a tough time. Glad you are doing well, and can't wait to see you again sometime soon.
We want all the fans to know tonight, from our family to yours, please stay healthy and well, and we'll see you this weekend.
Coming up next, Mike Rizzo, the general manager and president of baseball operations of the World Series champion Washington Nationals. And you heard Mark Lerner just a minute ago talk about the fact that we're championing the needs of our community so deeply impacted by the coronavirus. If you would like to make a tax-deductible donation to the Nats for Good Community Response Fund, just text RELIEF to 91347 or visit nationals.com/relief. And if you add a personal message, you might just see your note on screen during the virtual ring ceremony on Sunday night. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Dan Kolko, joined now by Mike Rizzo, the Nationals general manager and president of baseball operations. Riz, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, everything's great, Dan. It's a great day, and what a great occasion.
Yeah, this is so cool. We just had Mark Lerner on a few minutes ago to kind of break the news, I guess you could say, to fans that there's going to be a virtual ring ceremony this upcoming Sunday. It's going to be something that fans are going to be able to watch. They're going to be able to see the design of the ring, and you guys will take us into the entire process. I guess Mark will, and those that made the decisions on the ring itself. Ideally we would have been doing this over a month ago, Riz, and you guys would have seen the rings in person by now and shared the experience with everybody. But, over these last few months, how do you describe just waiting for this ring to finally get on your finger and see the darn thing?
Well, it's great anticipation. Unfortunately, we'd love to do it with 44,000 in the stands, screaming fans that that belong there and helped us get to this milestone. But it's really refreshing that we're going to be able to, really share this with so many more people, through these different venues and that type of thing. So I think it's unfortunate that we won't do it in front of the home fans in the ballpark, but I think that we're going to reach a heck of a lot more people to do it this way. And like I said, this is an accomplishment and a joy for everybody to share in, because we're all involved, and this is the whole DMV should be proud of this team, and they should share in the accolades.
You won a World Series when you were the scouting director of the Arizona Diamondbacks a bunch of years ago. What was that experience like, getting to put that ring on your finger for the first time? And there's so many players, staffers, et cetera, in this Nationals organization that they've never done this before. What do you anticipate this moment will be like for them?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's an enormous sense of pride and accomplishment. When we get this ring with the curly W on it, it's going to be magical. It's a culmination of years and years of trials and tribulations, and really hard work, and bringing this franchise into being what it is today. And from humble beginnings, we're hoisting a World Series flag and wearing World Championship ring. And I think to a player, it's going to be something that a sense of pride that I think that they'll all say this is going to be the pinnacle of their career, the most prestigious award that they'll ever have, as being the best baseball team in the world for 2019. And we're going to have the jewelry to prove it, and show off and wear with pride.
So you're going to have two of these things now. What's your approach? Are you going to go one on each hand? Are you going to double up on one hand? How do you do this when you have two?
Well, I'm not a big jewelry guy, so I wore my other one on just very special occasions, very, very fancy weddings and different type of venues like that. But I'd always wear it the first day of the amateur draft, which is the most important day of the baseball calendar. But with this one, I don't know. It looks so beautiful, and it's going to mean so much to me personally, to my dad, to my family, to our staff, and to these players. I may have to break it out a little bit more often. I would never wear, two at the same time. So I will. Let me amend that. I will wear two at the same time if they're both national rings. So that's something that I would do and wear with pride.
Well, we'll have to make that happen then, I guess. Yes. There's no other choice.
That's the plan.
Riz, you've had some time now to reflect back on 2019, and you've been asked so many questions over the last 6-7 months about that team and what made it special, and what made that run to the World Series championship so memorable. Now that you do have some distance from it, what moments still resonate with you and remain strong with you about that team and what you accomplished?
So many moments, Dan. You were there through all of them. It's you can go back to the comeback of 7 runs in a night with the Mets. You can come back with Juan Soto's big hit against the Brewers, the home runs by Howie, the pitching performances by Max and Patrick and Strauss, coming out of the bullpen, mixing and matching, Davey's masterful managerial job. But to me, the biggest main thought that I have when I think about this 2019 season is the guys that were with us throughout this whole thing. Again, the selfless nature of this club, the we not me type of attitude that we had, and again, you can't stress it enough that at about this time last year, we were focusing in on that 19-31 start. A lot of things could have went wrong if we had a lesser group of guys in that clubhouse, a selfish group of guys in that clubhouse, guys with egos that were too big. It could have went sideways fast. So I will always remember the players not pointing fingers, not blaming each other, no anonymous quotes. It was just something that was so surreal at the time, because we were as down as you can be, and these players just seemed to rise above all that and believe in themselves when nobody else in the world did, really.
Yeah, that's true. Final question for you, and then we'll let you get back to your quarantine activities, whatever those might be. Baseball is described over the course of 162 as a grind. That's a term that is thrown around as kind of a point of pride amongst players, amongst front office staffers, scouts. People, again, take pride in going through all the rigors of a long baseball season. And right now, as a society, we're going through a bit of a grind with this quarantine and everything that's going on during this pandemic. What advice or words would you have to people that are watching at home, just in terms of how to stay even keeled, something that you pride yourself on doing during a season, and how to stay positive during a challenging moment?
Well, it is. The season it's a grind. It's a gauntlet that you have to run each and every year. We're in the middle of one right now. We're 2 months into this quarantine period, and I know people are getting antsy and frustrated and that type of thing. But I think you have to take a mantra from what we did in 2019. When things are at their worst, leaders and great people are at their best. And I think that you saw that in 2019 with this club. When we were at our lowest point, the leadership group was at their best. And I think that in our society right now, we have to be safe. We have to isolate. We have to care for each other, and that meaning wear a mask or distancing themselves and that type of thing. I think the biggest thing that we have to do is to care about each other and know that what we do has repercussions through to other people. And with that said, you have to be mindful that what you do matters, and be a leader, and always stay upbeat and personable, because as Davey Martinez so eloquently put it, bumpy roads lead to beautiful places. And this is certainly a bumpy road in the world, in America and in Washington, D.C., but it will lead to beautiful places. And once we're over this safely, healthy, and getting back to our normal lives, we can look back at this time that we had a job to do, and we did it well, and we did it with pride, and we could all feel good about ourselves.
Riz, hope you're grinding through this bumpy road and working your way towards the beautiful place that's coming at the end of it. I'm glad you and Jody and your families are doing well. Thanks for taking a few minutes with me, and look forward to seeing you at the ballpark really soon.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, you heard that this weekend the Nationals will be celebrating their World Series championship, not just with a virtual ring ceremony, but also with the premiere of Improbable, a documentary that follows them on their World Series run. We'll get you a sneak peek of that documentary when we come right back. And for those of you who have donated to Nats for Good Community Response Fund, we thank you. Just $10 equals 25 meals for people who need it most in our community. Text RELIEF to 91347 or visit nationals.com/relief. Welcome back to Kolko and Friends. Dan Kolko, joined now by my buddy Jake Burns, the Executive Vice President of Business Operations for the Washington Nationals. Jake, how you doing, man? You hanging in there?
We're hanging in there, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for taking a few minutes to join me here on this hour-long show where we've got a couple really cool announcements. And Mark Lerner, just a little bit earlier on, mentioned to all the fans watching that you guys as an organization have put out your own documentary on the 2019 World Series run, which is going to air in 2 parts over the course of this weekend. This is such a cool thing. What was the impetus for this documentary? How did it all come about, and why did you guys decide to put this together?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is really born out of the fact that we have our own in-house production team, Curly W Productions, and they do such a phenomenal job of capturing content. And, as the season unfolded, we sort of recognized that we were in the middle of this just truly historic run, and that this team was incredibly special. And so we tried to capture as much content and behind the scenes footage and interviews as we possibly could along the way. And then, we went on and won the World Series, and we had all of this great information and content that we wanted to be able to share with the fans and sort of tell our story and our perspective on the historic championship run.
Fans have seen so much over the last 6-7 months in terms of coverage about the World Series team and all the things that happens over the course of the season. And I'm sure over the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, as they've been in quarantine, they've been trying to get their hands on as much new content as they can. What does this documentary present that maybe fans haven't seen before?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really boils down to all of the behind the scene footage. We have interviews with Mark Lerner and Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez and his staff, the players, all of the broadcasters. I think you even make an appearance in the documentary, Dan. But we're getting everybody's perspective on all of those really iconic moments, and just hearing their perspective and their side of the story as some of those really historic moments unfolded I think it's truly unique. And again, it gives all of us an opportunity to relive that really special period in our history.
Yeah, and I think people really need it right now, and it's awesome that you guys did this. I have not yet seen the documentary in full. I'm assuming that you have. What are your impressions as you watched your way through it?
Honestly, I loved it so much. It really moved me. When we've seen so many highlights, and we've talked about the championship run, but just the way that the documentary is shot, how it unfolds, it really, I got a little emotional watching it. I'm not going to lie. It's really great, and I think our fans are absolutely going to love it.
We've got a sneak peek now of the documentary that will air in 2 parts this weekend. Let's take a quick look.
The scent of spring brings a new season, a clean slate, and a hope for a deep October. Expectations? Limitless. Opportunities? Endless.
Curly W is in the books.
But a season can turn ugly fast.
Oh, Trey Turner out of this game.
On May 24th, 2019, nobody could have predicted the outcome of the Washington Nationals season. They had a lineup decimated by injuries. 19-31. Postseason odds at 22%.
These guys don't quit and they play hard, but we got to play better.
And what was once Hope Springs eternal reared its head in frustration.
Things are going to change, right? And I know that. So we just got to keep pounding away.
The numbers 19 and 31 will never be forgotten.
We're not out of it, that's for sure. I can tell you that right now.
Those numbers would be etched in stone after one of the most unexpected comebacks in the history of sports.
Para, well hit. Every one of his hits have meant something.
There's good players in that clubhouse, really good players, and we'll turn things around.
Fighting until the last out.
Kurt Suzuki, see you later. Unbelievable.
Going 1-0 every day.
We need to go 1-0. You know, it's important.
And the Washington Nationals have knocked down a heavyweight.
Staying in the fight.
Often bumpy roads leads to beautiful places, and this is a beautiful place.
There will be a World Series in D.C.
Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions! From the depths of a forgettable 19-31 start, they have climbed to the top of baseball's highest peak.
This is the story of the Nationals' improbable season.
That was awesome. I can't wait to watch this thing. Jake, as you said, it'll air in 2 parts, Saturday and Sunday. When and where can fans lay their eyes on this cool piece of footage that you guys put together?
For sure. So world premiere, like you said, is going to be on Saturday, May 23rd. It's going to air at 7 p.m. either on MASN or on nationals.com. That will be part 1, and that'll be the wild card, the division series, and the championship series. And then part 2 will air on May 24th on Sunday from 5:30 to 7, right before the virtual ring ceremony. So definitely would encourage fans to check that out. You're absolutely going to love it. It's just really incredible. And again, that Sunday is airing on MASN and nationals.com.
Very cool. Improbable, the story of the Nationals' 2019 run to the World Series. Jake Burns, Executive Vice President of Business Operations for the Nationals. Jake, thanks so much for the time, man. Hope you and Catherine and the kids continue to stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Hang in there, buddy.
Coming up next, the man who led the Nationals last season with the mantra of going 1-0 every day, Nationals manager Davey Martinez joins me on Kolko and Friends. And remember, text RELIEF to 91347 or visit nationals.com/relief to contribute to the Nats for Good Community Response Fund. Your message could be featured on Sunday's virtual ring ceremony. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Dan Kolko, pleased to be joined by Nationals manager Davey Martinez from down in Tennessee. Skip, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dan.
Good to see you. And you and Tara are getting ready to ride out a storm down there. So our best to you as you guys navigate that. Let's talk about the virtual ring ceremony that Mark Lerner announced just a little bit ago for all the fans that are watching at home. Obviously, it would be preferred for you guys to be getting your rings and laying your eyes on them for the first time at Nationals Park with all the fans there to celebrate with you. But regardless, you're going to have a World Series ring that you're going to get to see and touch and put on your finger. What do you anticipate that moment being like when you get to see it for the first time?
Oh, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be a very epic, very emotional moment. We worked diligently to get to that point and to all of a sudden be world champs. It's something that you'll never forget. To get that ring and obviously put it on my finger will mean a lot, not only to me, but to my family, my kids, everybody that understands what we go through on a daily basis. To be a champion, to be put in a situation where we're just glad and fortunate to do what we do and love what we do, and it's for me it's the top of the world. It really is. Like I said, you work so hard to get there, and everything has to go accordingly. When you hit the playoffs in the World Series, and kudos to the boys and the team, what they did. I know no one's forgotten, but we went from 19 and 31 to winning the World Series. That's an incredible feat.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you guys were 19 and 31 going into play on May 24th. That's when everything turned around, and it is no coincidence that this virtual ring ceremony will be held on May 24th, kind of an anniversary of where things all flipped. You're such a positive guy, and you maintained through the low points last year that your club was going to right the ship and turn things around and get to the place that you ended up getting to. So I would guess that if I told you before the game on May 24th that your team would come back, would reach the World Series, and you would be getting a ring, that it wouldn't have been a surprise to you, even though you guys started off the way that you did.
It wouldn't have been a surprise to me knowing that we could come back and play good baseball, play competitive baseball, and start winning games consistently. Now, when you get to the end of the season, you get to the playoffs, as we all know, anything can happen. But we were ready. At that point, like you said, we went through some adversity all year long. We persevered. We had that attitude. Why stop now? We were down. The wild card game, we came back. We were down many series in that playoffs, including the World Series, and we came back. But it's a testament to our group that they never quit. They kept pounding. They kept going. You couldn't tell them that they weren't going to do something because they'll prove you wrong. They did that all year, and like I said, I'm very proud of them.
You won a World Series ring as the bench coach of the Cubs with Joe Maddon as your manager a handful of years ago. How much sweeter do you think this one will be when you eventually get it, given not only that you're the manager of the 2019 Nationals, but everything that both your team had to persevere through and you had to persevere through rumors about you losing your job and just the trying times through the first couple months of the season?
Yeah, it was, like you said, it was a incredible season, incredible moments throughout the season, even through bad times. How I saw the boys, how they pulled through and stuck together. This means a lot to me personally. I worked my whole life. First started as a player, a very young player. Then started coaching. I had a great mentor in Joe Maddon. Got an opportunity to manage the Washington Nationals, thanks to the Lerner family and Mike Rizzo, who brought me along, and they felt like I could do the job. And so it happens. 18, we went through some bumps and bruises, but towards the end we played well, and I saw something special in the group that we had. And here comes 19. Riz and his group putting together another good roster. I really felt confident in going into 19 and playing that season and playing for a world championship. And that's what we did. Even through some tough times, through some tough injuries early in the season, we pulled through as a group. We stayed together. We focused on going 1-0 every day, and we persevered.
Davey, you, as I said earlier on, you would like to be celebrating this with the 40,000 plus people that would have been at Nationals Park for the ring ceremony there, but they're watching now. They're going to be watching on Sunday, and I'm sure that, from a guy that leads men on a daily basis, they could take some kind of motivational messages which you give throughout the course of the season. What do you have just for the public right now that are grinding through a tough time through this pandemic and needing to adjust their lives as they probably haven't before? What type of messages do you have for the public at large?
For me, it's one thing for sure to the DC fans and everybody out there. Biggest concern is that you stay healthy. You'll be back, and I can't wait to see all you guys. Really, I mean, this would mean a whole lot more if you guys were here face to face, and I was getting my ring in front of home plate and in front of all you fans. Somehow, some way, we'll celebrate together. I know that. Remember, I said once before, bumpy roads leads to beautiful places. We're going to get to that beautiful place. Hang in there.
No doubt about it, Skip. Thanks for the time, buddy. Great to see you. Glad you're doing well. I miss you, and Tara, and I can't wait to see the puppies when you bring them up to DC sometime soon.
That's for sure. I can't wait to see yours too. I miss you all.
See you, Skip. Thanks. Always great to get a few minutes with the Nationals skipper. Coming up next, we'll hear from MLB Network analyst Tom Verducci, who joins me on Kolko and Friends, and later on in the show, Mr. National, Ryan Zimmerman, will come aboard as well. And thanks again to those who have donated to the Nats for Good Community Response Fund. Over 250,000 meals have been made and distributed from Nats Park, and your help will keep those efforts going for our community. Text RELIEF to 91347 or visit nationals.com/relief. Welcome back. Dan Kolko, joined now by Tom Verducci, who you know if you're a baseball fan. He's a reporter and analyst for MLB Network and Fox. He's a baseball columnist for Sports Illustrated. He has about 50 billion jobs, and he joins us now here on Kolko and Friends. Tom, how you doing, man?
I am good. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here to talk about something that's very unique right now. We're in a unique time as a society, and this is certainly for a baseball team that's looking to celebrate its world championship, a unique situation. The Nationals announcing that they're going to be having a virtual ring ceremony this upcoming Sunday where they will be showing fans what the World Series rings will look like. The players will get to lay their eyes on them, and that's how they'll be releasing all of this. I haven't been around the game as long as you have. Have you ever experienced a situation where a team that wins a championship hasn't really been able to celebrate with its fans and do all the pageantry the next year?
Nothing like this, no. And I guess one way to look at it is, well, isn't it a shame that they're not out there in the field in front of the fans in Nationals Park getting their rings? I kind of look at the other way, which is what we all have to do during this shutdown period because of coronavirus. And that's look at it as a positive, right? It's a unique situation. People will remember the Nationals forever anyway because of this championship, the first one as the Washington Nationals. But now kind of this aura that these are such unusual times, it's an unforgettable moment. Like everybody else, we are making the best out of this. So I think it's actually pretty cool. It's certainly a memorable way to do it, taking advantage of technology that we have today. And hey, listen, if I were a player, staff member, coach, and I was getting a ring, I didn't care if the milkman dropped it off, you put it in FedEx, or you give it to me virtually. Just having that ring is so darn cool.
Yeah, and especially because we've now dragged this out. These guys had what, April 2nd circled on their calendars for a little while, and now we're a handful of weeks after that, so they'll take the ring any way they can get it. I'm sure you're right about that. Let's talk about the 2019 Nationals team, just kind of in a broad context. Here locally, I think most fans view this team as a comeback story. We all know the 19-31 record. We know they trailed in all 5 elimination games in the postseason and went on to win all 5 of those. But this is also a team that had as much star power as maybe any team in Major League Baseball last year. So how, for an average baseball fan, do you think the 2019 Nationals are viewed?
Well, first of all, I have to start with where you began. One of the great comeback teams of all time. In fact, you will hear the 2019 Nationals talked about whenever a team gets off to a bad start, right? Only 2 teams came from that far down below 500, 12 games below early in the season, and won the World Series. The other one way back 1914, the Miracle Braves. And we're still talking about the Miracle Braves. And 100 years from now, we'll talk about the Miracle Nationals from 19. And the comeback city in the postseason, night after night pretty much. You mentioned the 5 elimination games. What stands out to me, Dan, is in each of those elimination wins, they were trailing in those games. And from the 7th inning on, they outscored their opponents 19-0. Now think about that. 5 times it was win or go home. You're losing. And from the 7th inning on, you're like, we got it. This is our game. And it did have something to do, obviously, with star power. I mean, Strauss and Scherzer, the team goes 10-0 when they hand them the ball in the postseason. Rendon, one of the greatest players in the game. The rise of Juan Soto. It wasn't like this was the little engine that could. I mean, there was a ton of star power. But what stands out to me is the ability to come through when their backs were against the wall. I know that's a cliche. Good teams can do that once or twice, but to do it 5 times, that was historic.
Yeah, we might have to come up with a term for these Nationals. You got the Miracle Braves, as you said. We got to put some heads together and come up with a unique term for the Nationals in 2019. Miracle Braves, they've got the miracle thing covered. Let's come up with something else. Tom, thank you so much for taking a few minutes with us. Great to see you, man, and hopefully we're talking at a ballpark sometime in the next few weeks or so.
I look forward to that. Thanks for having me.
After the break, we'll hear from Ryan Zimmerman, who joins me here on Kolko and Friends to talk about it, just how excited he is to get that World Series ring on his finger. And remember, text RELIEF to 91347 to help the Nats and their community partners in the area help those in need. Welcome back to Kolko and Friends. I'm Dan Kolko, and here is my friend, Ryan Zimmerman, joining us from his house in Virginia. Ryan, how you doing, man?
Good. And you have so many friends.
I'm so popular during this quarantine.
What a perfect show for you.
Yeah, they forced you to show up, so I don't know if that actually makes you a friend or not, but I'm going to come.
Imaginary friends, dog friends.
I have a lot of those, yeah. Ryan, earlier on in our show, Mark Lerner broke the news to everyone watching that you guys are going to be doing a virtual ring ceremony this upcoming Sunday, where you're going to finally get to see the design of the ring for the first time. Fans are going to get to see it as well. Take me through this whole process over the last few weeks and months from your mindset. You anticipated getting the rings back in early April. Now you've obviously had to wait a bit longer. And I know you've been in talks with Mark Lerner for a couple weeks now about the possibility of doing something like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you talk to all the guys, and I think a lot of us have said this, the kind of the biggest bummer about all this is we couldn't have that opening day at home where you get to raise the banner, you get to get your rings, and most importantly, you get to share that with the fans, with the people around the ballpark. We're the first, I guess I don't know if we're the first, but I would think we might be the first team to not really be able to celebrate the year after you win the World Series. So to accomplish something like that with the group of guys that we had, with the city that we play in, with the fan base that we have, not being able to celebrate that accomplishment together has been tough for all of us. So, nobody knows what's going to happen with this year. Even if we do play, which all of us are hoping for, there's probably not going to be fans in the stands. So it would be kind of a weird, couldn't do this anyway if we had games. So we were trying to think of a way that we could obviously let the players get their rings or see the rings or whatever it's going to be, and also let the fans be a part of it. So, this is kind of what the people came up with. And, I think we're all excited to finally see the design and see what it looks like, and hopefully get it sooner rather than later.
You've played for a long time, and there are a lot of players who play for a long time that don't ever get one of these things. How much over the last 6-7 months since you won the World Series have you thought about the ring specifically and putting it on your finger for the first time?
Yeah, man, I think it's what you play for. Individual accomplishments are great. Statistics are awesome. But at the end of the day, anyone will tell you that they would trade all that to win a World Series. And I think that's, whether you play baseball, basketball, with football, whatever sport it is, I mean, the ultimate accomplishment is to be a world champion. So for us to be able to do that, getting that ring and being able to show it off, whether you want to wear it or keep it in a special room in your house, or, that's something that, not everyone has. I think being able to have it and use it as like a piece of, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Flair, something like that. But, that's what you look forward to. And, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to show it off. I don't know if I'll wear it or what, but, it's definitely going to be the centerpiece of wherever it's stored. That's for sure.
Which of your teammates do you anticipate wearing it the most, or maybe being the flashiest with it, or showing it off to the most people?
Gosh, that's a good question. You would think Paro would probably wear it.
Yeah.
Paro would probably wear it. I'm trying to think who else. Gosh, our team is, for as much fun as we have, we're pretty low key guys.
Yeah.
Paro got a whole tattoo of the World Series trophy, so I feel like he seems like the easy choice. I don't know if he would or not, but
Dozier,
him just for the easy choice.
I could see Doge wearing it quite a bit as well.
Doge, yeah. I guess he probably could. No shirt with his ring on.
It's a good look.
It's a good look, yeah. Love it.
For you as well, you've played your entire career with this Nationals organization, and anytime you win a World Series, it's special, regardless of if you've been with the team for 2 months after coming aboard via a trade or a pickup, or you've been there the entire time. But this has to be especially meaningful for you, given the journey that you've been on with this organization and seeing how far the Nationals as an organization really have progressed.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. I think I've said that along the way. like I said at the parade as well, I feel like me, the fans, this city as a baseball town, we've all kind of grown up together. When I first came here, I was 20 years old. Now I'm married with a third kid 2 weeks away. So, it's pretty important 15 years of your life, basically right out of college to kind of like family, I don't want to say middle age, but family mature, I guess would be the best way to put it. We've kind of gone through that together. It's been fun to be a part of it. Going through the tough times, I think made the better times that we've had over the last 6 or 7 years that much more special. And then obviously the ultimate goal of winning a world championship, especially in this city, it's kind of the icing on the cake. And it's been fun to go through those times with the fans and with, people in the front office, obviously the Lerner family. It's been quite a ride, and I've actually had some time to reflect on it. If you can imagine, I've had a lot of free time. So it's it's kind of one of those things that I've thought about more than I have over the last decade and a half. So you almost appreciate it a little bit more. So it was a crazy season, and it's almost one of those things. Me and you have talked about this as well. How if it was going to happen, something crazy like this was going to have to happen. It was almost like you were exercising the demons of all the playoffs past, and obviously the 100 lost seasons and things like that. It was almost like something like this had to happen to get everything out of the way.
And it did. Ryan, thanks for the time, man. All the best to you and Heather on the third baby that's coming on the way. And give the girls a hug for all of us. And look forward to seeing you hopefully at the ballpark in the not too distant future.
Thanks, man. Good luck finding some more friends to come on your show.
Thanks. It's going to be tough. I appreciate it. All right, thanks again to Ryan Zimmerman. Awesome to have him join us for a few minutes during a busy time for him. Remember, text RELIEF to 91347 or visit nationals.com/relief to help the Nats for Good Community Response Fund continue its work with World Central Kitchen and the Capital Area Food Bank. We'll be right back with some important dates and times for you to mark your calendars with, so stay with us. Well, that just about does it for our Kolko and Friends show. This has been so much fun catching up with all of the people who helped make the 2019 World Championship happen. And what an exciting weekend of programming we've got waiting for you. Make sure you mark your calendars for the documentary Improbable, airing on Masson and Nationals.com beginning at 7 p.m. on Saturday, May 23rd, and 5:30 p.m. Sunday, May 24th, and then available anytime on Nationals.com. Then the virtual ring ceremony on Sunday, 7 p.m., May 24th. We're all excited to see the champs get their rings. And remember, your message to the community could be featured in the broadcast if you make a donation to Nats for Good. Text RELIEF to 91347. Well, that will do it. I'm Dan Kolko. Thank you so much for joining us on Kolko and Friends tonight. Hope all of you are safe and healthy and continue to stay that way. Be well, everybody.